Obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
Lie. No man is obsolete.
It's a cookbook.
Who are we?
When will they take the bandages off?
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man.
This lemon sucker here. He's the most suspicious of the bunch.
My name is Talkie Tina, and I'm beginning to hate you.
I believe you're going my way.
Live from Willoughby at the heart of the Twilight Zone. Here are your hosts, Alex and Tyler, the prestigiously perfect podcast in which we call The Twilight Zone.
What is up, gnomies and or sex fiends? I'm Alex.
And I'm Tyler.
Welcome to the Twilight Gnome Podcast, episode 51. What episode are we going to be discussing this week, Ty?
Tonight, we are going to be discussing Judgment Night.
Season 1, episode 10, original air date, December 4th, 1959. This was written by Rod Serling and directed by John Bram. Do you remember that name?
Nope.
He directed 12 Twilight Zones. He actually hit one in every single season, and you best believe I'm about to go over them.
All right, let's hear it.
Time Enough at Last, Judgment Night, The Four of Us Are Dying, Mirror Image, A Nice Place to Visit, Mr. Dingle the Strong, Shadow Play, Person or Persons Unknown, Young Man's Fancy, The New Exhibit, You Drive, and Queen of the Nile.
Yeah, quite a few we've already done so far, and a lot of hits and misses on his list.
I remember that even though some of his episodes, just like this one, that isn't very good, there's a lot of good direction in it.
Yeah.
So, definitely. All right, we'll jump right into it, Ty. What was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment was the attention to detail that every single time someone opened a door on the ship that would lead to the inside, the lights turned off. I just thought that was a really great, not even a reference to put in, that's actually how a lot of ships are supposed to be working, because you don't want to have a lot of light on the deck, because then the captain's not going to be able to see very well. So I thought that was a really good attention to detail there.
I think it was more of the fact of they didn't want enemies to see them, so every time they'd open the door they wouldn't want light to be seen from far away.
But I think it's also for the captains to see into the water. I saw something on Reddit a couple months ago where it was talking about working on a boat, and you apparently get in a lot of trouble if you open up and there's light shining on the deck of the boat or something.
I figured it was for safety reasons, because it would give away your position to the enemy.
Probably works both ways, but yeah.
My favorite was a shot, pretty much the whole when he goes crazy at 1:15 and he sees the ghosts of them.
Yep, that reminded me a lot of the ride, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, because there's the scene where you're looking at the everyone that died in the elevator there, and they're kind of standing together. Very similar kind of homage. For
sure. And then just the attack scene in general was done pretty well with the fire and all the chaos. It was pretty decent.
Must have been an expensive episode.
Pretty average, actually.
Surprising.
We have the technology to rebuild him.
Doctor, what have you created?
I am, for all intent and purposes, AI Serling.
So every week I put a prompt into ChatGPT, come up with a Rod Serling style intro. This one's a little bit long, but I guess it's suiting since Rod goes on for quite a while in this one, but it's okay. You ready for it?
Let's hear it.
Picture a man adrift in the currents of time and memory. His name is Karl Lancer, or so he believes. His passport says he hails from Frankfurt, Germany, but beyond that, his past is a fog as dense as the midnight mist that clings to the ship's decks. He knows only that he is here, aboard the SS Queen of Glasgow, bound from London to New York in the wartime year of 1942. And he knows something else, something far more troubling, a cold certainty in his bones that unseen eyes are watching, that beneath these dark waters danger stirs. Somewhere in the depths a predator waits, its purpose as shadows as Lancer's own past. In a few short hours, this voyage will reach a destination far beyond any charted course, because Karl Lancer is about to make a discovery, one that will take him from the realm of the known into a place where guilt is a compass and justice is meted out on the tides of eternity, a place found only in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, pretty good.
I know.
I'm gonna be nitpicky.
Passport.
Well, both the passport part, and then it's also insinuating that his name isn't his name. Like, he is Carl Lancer. That part's not in question at all.
That's true. All right. Every week, Tyler and I come up with a few questions for each other, keep each other on our toes while watching said episode. I have my normal 3.
Same.
It is odd, so go for it.
All right. According to the chalkboard in the galley, what are the blackout hours?
I was trying to read what the hell that says. It was so blurry, I couldn't make it out. Blackout hours, I'm guessing it's got to be at nighttime, obviously, right? So it'd probably be 5 p.m. to 5 a.m.?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Damn it. So close.
So close. Yeah, the top part was a lot harder to read. It was talking about lifeboat. It was talking about lifeboat
etiquette
practice, like time for like them to like learn how to use the lifeboats or something like that. I can't think of the word what you'd use, but
I was for sure for the life of me trying to read what the hell that board says, and I couldn't make it out.
Yeah, the top thing said something along the lines of like lifeboat practice 10 something to 4 p.m. and I couldn't tell if it probably most likely it said 10 a.m. It'd be weird if it said 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Why would you be doing that all night?
True. All right, my first question: what is the gross tonnage of the ship?
When the hell does it say this?
Rod says it in his intro.
Let's see. Truck probably weighs about 2 tons. This is a boat. It's bigger. 200 tons.
5,000 tonnage.
All right.
You're the worst type of autistic.
Does that mean how heavy the boat is?
I think it's
or how much it can
carry.
Oh, okay. Where is Potter from?
That's my second question. The Windy City, Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago.
All right, that was my second one. My final one then.
What's your final question?
My final question, when we see Nazi Lancer there at the end, he calls his lieutenant what for having like a conscience?
He calls him an old woman.
Yes, he calls him an old woman.
Yep. All right, my last question. The engineer says the engines were originally designed for who?
Lord Nelson?
Yeah.
That was off the top of my head.
That was a good pull.
I was wondering, who the fuck is that? I'm guessing it's someone from like back in World War I or something that was like a long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to look it up and figure out who Lord Nelson was.
I got what they were going for. It
sounded like it was a joke of like, oh, we built this so long ago, but like...
Fucking Christopher Columbus had this thing on the fucking Mayflower.
It's kind of like in Archer when they make like so many jokes, but they're like really obscure. Like you'd have to really know your history well about super like pedantic things in order to get the references.
All right, we'll jump right into the plot of this one. We open up on a shot of a ship in a fog, and since it's season 1, we are thrust right into a very long Rod intro.
Yeah, immediately with the Rod, he gives us kind of, it's 1942, there's a ship lost, and we get the whole little shebang.
Her name is the SS Queen of Glasgow. Her registry British, gross tonnage 5,000, age indeterminate. At this moment, she's 1 day out of Liverpool. Her destination, New York. Duly recorded on this ship's log is the sailing time, course to destination, weather conditions, temperature, longitude, and latitude. But what is never recorded in a log is the fear that washes over a deck like fog and ocean spray. Fear like the throbbing strokes of engine pistons, each like a heartbeat, parceling out every hour into breathless minutes of watching, waiting, and dreading. For the year is 1942. And this particular ship has lost its convoy. It travels alone like an aged, blind thing groping through the unfriendly dark, stalked by unseen periscopes of steel killers. Yes, the Queen of Glasgow is a frightened ship, and she carries with her a premonition of death.
Very long Rod intro, and I liked the death part at the end because it reminded me of Night of the Gnome, the little short that we made. And I was like, I just looked into the eyes of, or the face of death itself. It was death.
I mean, it is super long intro, but the more I'm watching season 1, I kind of get what you're saying, where it has that feel to it, and it's just, I don't know, something very classic about it. I can't really put my finger on it or like put words to what it is, but season 1 definitely has a very unique feel in a good way.
For sure. It seems like Rod was trying harder. they still weren't sure what to do with Rod, which obviously he wasn't in the shots yet, but I think the longer intros work good for season 1. I don't know.
Yeah, and it helps kind of set the story up so you could immediately jump right into it.
Yep. So after Rod finally finishes his whole speech there, the Gettysburg Address, Lancer is hanging out on the railing of the ship, and he backs up. We hear a man say something to the effect of like, all right, lights out.
Hey, put those lights out there.
Right? He comes out of the salon, and he tells Lancer that dinner's ready. Lancer goes in. The lights turn off when the door opens, like you had alluded to earlier.
Kind of be a cool way. They could have set this up as like a murder mystery, because like, you know, in classic murders, like the lights go off and someone gets stabbed and the lights come back on and there's, oh my God, who stabbed who? It was dark out.
This one definitely had potential to be a good episode.
I like the twist, though. I thought the twist was good.
He seems very disorientated, and this guy, Mr. Potter from America here, is asking him a bunch of questions. Here, come over here, join us for dessert.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter.
And he introduces everybody at the table. You have the old British guy, I forget his name, and then Miss Lanley or Miss Stanley.
I don't remember names at all. There was a military guy and a secretary lady that was also wearing military stripes.
Right. And they're asking, like, are you heading away from home or to home? And he's like, I'm heading away. He's just the most suspicious motherfucker.
Super suspicious. First off, it's 1942 and you have a German accent. That's already going to send up some red flags.
We'll get into that a little bit later when he finds the
Nazi hat and he's like, oh, is this your hat? Nothing weird here.
Is this a trophy from the war that's still currently in?
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, you were a terrible steward.
But anyway, yeah, they're asking where he's from, but he's like, I don't know. They ask what he does, but right when this happens, the captain comes in, and the captain says, oh, fog's super heavy out there tonight. We can't see the convoy because, as Rod alluded to earlier, they lost their convoy, and now they're all alone.
Come on and join the convoy.
And then one man says that he's very afraid of like the wolf packs. Is the British man coming?
And then, of course, Carl has to pipe in here, even though he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, actually, no, the wolf packs only attack big groups of people. As we are alone, we are not going to get attacked by the wolf pack.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit of that because that's our first little inkling of, all right, he knows something's fucky.
I'd feel much safer if we were in convoy. I can almost see those wolf packs. Isn't that what you call them?
There'd be no wolf packs converging on a single ship, Major Devereaux. The principle of the submarine pack is based on the convoy attack.
The gentleman is quite correct. Our principal danger would lie in a single submarine.
If you're being followed, you'll see the sub, Mr. Potter. It will surface. They won't use all of their torpedoes on us, not when they can sit at 1,000 yards and shell us with impunity and sink us at will.
Like, way to just out yourself, man.
Pretty much. And the captain of the ship's like, you seem like you're a U-boat commander. He drops his coffee.
Be like, I don't remember what I did for work.
Fucking just acting incredibly suspicious.
I'm kind of wondering, too, like, maybe it's kind of insinuating that he has no memory, but you think to some degree he actually does, and he's holding back intentionally, not saying what he did because he's starting
quite possible to not incriminate himself.
Exactly,
for sure. They ask where everyone's from, and Lancer says that he's from Frankfurt. Which again, like, obviously, like, they're at war with Germany. Not that obviously.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people that
Germany
came over and like Project Paperclip and stuff that were obviously also from Germany. So just being born in Germany doesn't necessarily mean that you're on the opposite side of the war.
I get that. But I don't know, huge red flags that he knows a bunch about this. He says he's from Germany. I mean, obviously stereotypes are horrible, but like especially at this time on a ship that is very vulnerable, you should be very cautious, and maybe stereotypes are something to pay attention to.
You're right.
He says he's can't remember anything else though, and then he goes, I'm sick, I got to go. And then we get a shot, he's outside hanging out by the stairs. Miss Stanley walks by, and he's like, have we met before? And he pretty much just trying to explain deja vu to her. And she's like, I know the feeling.
I can't believe they didn't was it not until after 1942 that America, or in English, kind of borrowed the word deja vu from the French? Like,
I'm not sure. I would imagine the history of that, it's been around for a lot longer than that.
I would think so too. I mean, I feel like that's like a universal experience. Like everyone,
unless the simulation hasn't kicked in yet, so that's why no one's had it.
So
before
nobody
then.
had deja vu until like the 1950s, and people were like, oh shit, what the hell's this new thing? We don't have a word for it.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
If the simulation theory is correct, it probably wouldn't start until then.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
All right. Miss Stanley's like, yeah, I know that feeling. And he's like, I haven't had this before. And he's like, actually, I don't recall even getting on this ship. It's like I just woke up by that rail over there. And then I heard everyone's voices in the salon. And then he says that he feels like he's in a nightmare, that there's doom coming. They're about to be snatched by a sub. And
Doom.
It's at this point the first officer comes out and he's like, hey, the captain wants to see ya.
Which he's probably shitting a brick at this point. He's like, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff. I don't remember where I am or who I am. And now the captain wants to talk to me because I have been acting awfully sus.
Right. And then they're in the captain's quarters. What would you call it? Where do they drive? It's not a cockpit in a ship. What is that?
The captain's...
It's not the hull?
No, the hull's like the bottom part of the ship.
I don't know shit about like naval terminology.
I don't know. I guess I'd call it the steering room.
The poop deck? No.
I don't know. They're in the captain. They're where the steering wheel is.
Yep. And the captain asks, all right, you have your passport? And he's like, I don't have my wallet on me. And then the captain's like, is there anything you want to tell us? Because you're acting super fucking sketchy. He's like, I don't remember anything. And I'll play a little bit of this because he tells him that he's Carl Lancer, and that's pretty much all he knows.
There is very little that I can tell you, as I don't remember anything. I don't really know how I got on this ship. I don't recall anything about it. I seem to remember only odd, disjointed things. I know, for example, that my name is Karl Lancer. I know that I was born in Frankfurt.
Go on, Mr. Lancer.
Go on, how? It seems to be all that I know.
It's at this point that Lancer leaves, and they send a steward to his cabin to kind of keep an eye on him. And the steward's helping him put a bunch of his shit away, and it's at this point that he finds the
Nazi hat.
Yeah.
Like, clearly there's the eagle with the swastika thing on it, and then, like, the steward just acts so nonchalantly, like, oh, is this your hat? Like,
just
this
some
looks
Nazi
like a normal
memorabilia.
hat. Yeah, like...
He's like, is this I say, like, this something you got from the war, which is still ongoing, so it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
But either way, the steward apparently lets it go and doesn't tell the captain, which is the whole reason he went down there with him, is to keep
check
an
his
eye
passport.
on him.
Yeah.
He has fucking Nazi
Anything
shit.
to report back? No, just a normal hat.
Maybe the steward was an undercover Nazi, too.
Well, then he's about to get killed by his own side later.
Maybe. And then we see inside the hat, and it says that it belongs to a Commander Lancer. And dun dun dun. The next shot, the captain's asking the engineer to speed up, but the engines are overworked, apparently.
I like how they're using just the basicest form of communication, just a tube running from one room to the other. It reminds me of, like, some kids' playgrounds have that, where it's just essentially just a tube running from one end of the playground to the other. They also have a Storyland too, but it can't be more than just a pipe, right? You're just yelling into a pipe. And
I would imagine there might be something that kind of is like cone shaped that help amplify it, but I mean, it's probably the smartest thing to do because you're not relying on any electronics or anything to go sideways. Exactly. But it's at this point they're like, well, we don't know what to do. If we speed up, the engines could completely shit the bed, but if we just stop them, then we're sitting ducks. And then the next shot, Lancer's at the bar, throwing a few back, and the engines apparently don't sound right to him.
I've looked on many ships, and these engines, they sound like they're broken.
We look at the clock. It is 12:05, and Lancer goes, 1:15. I'll play a little bit of this because he has a very sneaking suspicion about something happening at 1:15.
1:15.
Beg pardon, sir?
1:15. Something is going to happen at 1:15. The engines have stopped. Why have the engines stopped?
I like this part a lot. It kind of seems like it could be like an I think you should leave now skit. He's like, it's probably just routine. Don't give me that fucking bullshit.
I know how they're supposed to sound like.
That made me kind of giggle, and he got very defensive about it.
Yeah, and then afterwards he just starts drinking heavily, and we just see that time's passing by, and now it's the 1:15 that he dreaded, and he starts to freak out some more.
The U-boats are coming. We must abandon ship. Just jumps right to abandon ship. He's running all over the place. He gets out on the side of the ship, and a searchlight spots him, so he kind of starts freaking out. So he goes downstairs, and he's like, come on, everybody, get out of here. What the fuck do I gotta do to make you get out of here? Can't you hear me?
He's knocking on all the doors and looking for everyone, and then he turns around, and we get that iconic shot that you liked, Alex, where everyone's just sort of standing there, and
it's almost like it's like
it looks like there's
superimposed over it or something. There's something cool effect over it.
Yeah, it looks like they might be like a dirty sheet of glass between them or something, or like a Pepper's Ghost effect maybe.
He looks away for a second, looks back, and they're all completely gone. So he runs upstairs. The searchlight hits him again. He's yelling for anyone that'll be there. Miss Stanley, fucking first lieutenant, captain, fucking anybody hear me? And it's at this point he sees another spotlight that goes on him, and he grabs binoculars. He looks in the binoculars, and what does he see?
It's himself firing upon himself.
All right, and did you hear what the German Nazi submarine guy says?
At the end, or like while he's on
while
the submarine?
He's on the submarine?
I don't remember.
He says, "Freier, frei, bang, bang."
Does he actually?
He doesn't sing the Rammstein song, but he says "Freier, frei" because that means fire at will in German.
Oh, is that what they're saying in the song?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they're saying "fire's fine."
No, they're singing it's German.
Fire's fine, man.
No, they're saying "fire at will" in German. That's why they're saying "bang, bang, Freier, frei." And it's really cool because that's all I could hear when he kept going, Freier, frei.
Oh, okay. The whole time I've heard that song, I assume they were saying fire, fine.
Every other word was in German, but
those two sounded Englishy.
But no, they start lighting the shit out of the ship. The ship's on fire. It's sinking. Everyone's dying. We see poor Miss Stanley there just fucking being burnt alive inside a room. The mast falls on the British guy.
And then with Carl there, it looks like he pushes the entire
the railing falls completely over.
He must have hit it with so much force, the whole thing falls over. He goes overboard, right into the water, and
apparently he drowns.
Well, there's the floating life preserver ring, but he's not onto it, so I'm guessing that he.
This is where
he can't die though, because this is his version of hell. So it's just that's gonna be the end, and then he's gonna wake up.
Yeah,
and yeah.
But he would die. He would still die because he's doomed to die every night.
He wouldn't die because he's already dead. You can't die twice, but he probably has the sensation of dying.
Right. And I would imagine every night it's probably a little different, kind of like in Palm Springs and Groundhog's Day.
Depending on what his actions are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it probably ends with him dying every time.
It'd
be weird if it's like, if I just do the right thing, then I be able to not die this time.
No, obviously he's got to be punished for his crimes, but I would imagine sometimes he might drown, maybe he gets fucking burnt sometimes, maybe he that's what I would
dies
figure.
In different ways as his victims
maybe a
died.
Torpedo gets him and it gets away with it pretty easy one night, who knows.
Yeah.
But then, do you notice that it shows the doll of the little girl, and we see I would imagine, I don't know, it didn't say anything in the books, but I don't know if it showed the little girl drowning, because you see her arm reach for it, but they cropped it out of the shot. So I was I wonder if they're it's two more, we should show that.
Probably that's the case, I would guess.
But anyway, the whole ship is completely submerged now, and then we see the submarine going down underwater, giggity, and we see Nazi Lancer, and he's just like...
Well, technically both Lancers are Nazis, but yeah.
True. Good catch tonight, huh? The lieutenant guy comes down, he's shaking, he's like, oh, nerves, why? And he's like, there are people on that boat, we didn't give them a warning or anything. He's like, oh, you're just being an old woman. Makes me wonder, and then... the lieutenant's makes me wonder if we're all damned now.
I really liked that line. I like it when, I don't like it when the episode's too vague.
Spells it out.
I like it when it spells it out. Like that.
So you liked this part?
I liked this part. I was like, oh, nice, you spelled it out to make it really clear what this is about, because I hate it when it sort of ends in a vague sort of way,
Thanks for
what's
telling
going
me
on
what
here?
to think.
Yeah, I like that. I like it when they make it clear. Here's what the message was all about. I'm like, oh, thank you. Wrap that up in a nice bow.
But I thought it was funny when he was I like the line where he says, we're damned. He's like, oh, yeah, definitely by the British Navy race. Definitely. He's like, no, not by them, but by God. And I'll play a little bit of this because his speech thing was good, where he kind of goes into I have a dream.
Yeah, because he says something along the lines of we ride the ghost of that ship every night or something.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit of that.
Suppose we are damned. What will happen then?
I've had dreams about it. Perhaps there's a special kind of hell for people like us. To have a fate like the people on that ship. To suffer as they suffer. And to die as they die. We'd ride the ghost of that ship every night. Every night, Herr Captain. For eternity.
I like throwing in the German stuff once in a while. Like, he was completely speaking with an American accent and then just, Air Captain.
Yeah, like...
Don't forget I'm a German guy.
Carl's accent is so not even there most of the time. Like, it's a very light German accent.
I'll get into it, but spoiler alert, he's not actually German.
I assumed.
But after this little conversation with these Nazi officers here, we are back on the ship, and we're getting the same shot that we got at the beginning with Lancer looking confused, hanging out on the ship, and then you hear the, all right, lights off.
Very cyclical.
And then Rod takes us out.
The SS Queen of Glasgow heading for New York, and the time is 1942. For one man, it is always 1942.
Light in the salon. Let's black out down there.
And this man will ride the ghost of that ship every night for eternity. This is what is meant by paying the fiddler. This is the comeuppance awaiting every man when the ledger of his life is opened and examined. The tally made, and then the reward or the penalty paid. And in the case of Karl Lancer, former Kapitan Leutnant, Navy of the Third Reich, this is the penalty. This is the justice meted out. This is Judgment Night in the Twilight Zone.
And that is our episode. Tyler, what did you learn?
Don't skip the lifeboat drills.
All right, IMDb currently has this at a 7.3 out of 10, which is pretty damn high, I'm thinking. I can't tell. Do you think that we're going to be on the same page of this, or do you think you liked it a little bit more than me?
I think I might be like a little bit higher than you on this, but not like a lot.
All right, I'll go first then. I mean, this episode is extremely boring. The mechanism is not... As much as I know I like to have things that are like not as black and white, I still want, I don't know, there's something missing. It just doesn't feel complete. I don't know. I'm going to end up with just giving this a 4.
Ooh, that's really low. All right. I'm giving this a 6.5. It's a good mystery. You're kind of learning with him as to who he is and what's going on there. And a good lesson about those who do bad or damned to be tortured for eternity. So kind of like loved the message there. It was really cool and very Twilight Zone-y. But it is a rather slow episode, and it is a bit forgettable. So
definitely bottom tier of season 1. Season 1 usually doesn't have very many episodes that are crappy.
I'm thinking right now when I think of bad episodes in season 1, all I can think of is the
16
millimeter shrine. Ugh.
Yeah. Mighty Casey is... I can see that can be like a guilty pleasure. I think I like that one a little more than this.
The Hokier ones are definitely more fun.
But, no.
Who are they? Where are they? What are they? Let's find out together in the Twilight Gnome presents Inside the Twilight Zone.
All right, so this week we have Nehemiah Persoff. He played Karl Lancer. He actually just died in 2022 at the age of 102.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was actually Jewish, and he was born in Jerusalem, which is kind of funny that he was playing a Nazi. I wonder if that was like something that would be like conflicted to play, or if, I don't know. I wonder how you'd feel about going about that being
Yeah, but the whole
person.
episode is about like...
Obviously, yeah, Nazis getting their comeuppance.
Yeah.
But still a little... he was in 6 episodes of Gunsmoke, 6 Playhouse 90s. He was in the movie Twins with Danny DeVito
and Arnold.
Yep. And he plays the voice of the dad in The American Tale and Fievel Goes West.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Patrick McNee. He played Officer McLeod, the first lieutenant there. He was in 1 episode of Frasier, 3 episodes of Playhouse 90, and he was actually in the movie This Is Spinal Tap. He just had a small part in that. And then we have Ben Wright. He played Captain Wilbur. He was in The Sound of Music. He played Herr Zeller, apparently. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
See, other than the main Von Trapp family, I don't think I could name a single character.
He played the voice of Roger in 101 Dalmatians back in 1961.
Oh, neat.
He was in 3 Twilight Zone episodes. He was in this, obviously, Dead Man's Shoes and Death's Head Revisited. Did Dead Man's Shoes have like Germans or something. I know he didn't play a German in this, but
I don't know if I've ever seen Dead Man's Shoes before.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. And he was in a lot of TV shows in the 60s. For a little bit of trivia here, the sponsors really wanted coffee in there. That's why, even though it's a British ship, instead of tea, they have coffee because it was a sponsor of The Twilight Zone. It was the same set as The Wreck of Mary Dear, which was a movie that came out 4 weeks prior, which is why they had the set and everything that MGM just allowed them to use.
I was going to say, because otherwise the cost would have been exorbitant, because you have a whole ship with what I'm guessing is like a water stage, because they obviously couldn't film the water parts like outside for real. So there's probably like how they filmed Titanic, like inside, but there's like a water pool or something.
I actually just saw a time-lapse video of back in 97. They built a gigantic replica of the ship near the ocean.
Oh.
For that.
Yeah, but then they also have like the submarine. There's just a lot of different set pieces you'd have to build for that. So
they did have to pay $500 for the shot of the ship in the fog from that movie.
Yep.
Which I think it's like tenfold, so it was like that would be like $5,000 that they had to pay for that. Which is also made me think of how weird it would be that this was a shot from a movie. Like, you'd never see like an Avengers movie and like a TV show would be like, hey, can we use that shot?
That would be kind of funny nowadays, yeah.
Which obviously now we have like CGI and we have easier means of making such shots, but
kind of like a Neil Breen movie where you just take a bunch of like B-roll footage and just throw it all together. Like, this is gonna work good.
Apparently, Serling got the idea from a sermon about hell that he was listening to. And Serling did not like the outcome of this episode. He thought that the script that he wrote was a lot better, and it didn't really do it justice.
It'd be interesting to see how his script differed from this then.
For sure. In total, this episode cost $53,257. Very average. Director received the usual $1,250, and the cast received $6,844.
What'd you say your name was?
What's in a name, Mr. Whittaker, really? A mere question of semantics. Just language. A mere stretch of words.
All right, so every week, Tyler and I come up with a few alternative titles to the episode we are watching. I think I have like 5 or 6.
I have 5.
All right, you want to get our debacles out of the way?
Yep, let's do the debacles.
Want me to go first?
Yep.
I have, if I can find my notes here, Death Ship debacle.
I have The Damned debacle.
Good. That's better than mine. Especially since Death Ship debacle will probably be for the episode Death Ship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. I have, this is a good one. This is in a parallel universe, a very weird sequel because I have Terminator 3 Judgment Night instead of Judgment Day.
Nice. I have 115.
I have The Flying German instead of The Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. It makes me think that the episode would be about a guy that's just a German man that just learns to fly. I have Eternal Night.
I have Death Eternal.
Yeah. If you had death eternal.
That's what I was thinking.
I have Deja Vu of the Damned.
I have Crimes and Punishment.
And this is my favorite one. I am very, very proud of my play on words here. I have You Reap What You Boat. A U-boat, a German U-boat, and then you reap what you sow. It's a really, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back there. I thought that was pretty clever.
My final...
Audience, tell me what you think. Was that a clever name?
I guess. My final one is Ghosts of Nazis Past. Should have let you go after that one, but all right. What about switcheroos? I have 4.
I have 6.
All right. I'll go first. 30 Fathom Grave.
Yep, obviously. Death Ship.
Yep. One more Pallbearer.
Nope, I have Back There.
The Encounter.
No, I have Night of the Meek.
Mm.
Is that it for you?
Yeah.
I also have Death's Head Revisited and A Quality of Mercy.
Pretty decent, except they show no mercy.
Well, he'd probably learn mercy? I don't know. All right, so this week, no direct references that I could find, but there was definitely a lot of things that made me think of this episode. So Near the beginning of the episode, we get Potter saying a line where he says, "It's a game I play. Try to connect a face to a name," and that just made me think of the scene in Miss Congeniality where Miss Connecticut's saying something similar to Sandra Bullock's character about like trying to memorize all the different people, and she recognized her by the lack of the photo. So kind of made me think of that. And then in general, there's just a whole bunch of movies about like evil people getting their comeuppances in a very ironic and fitting way. So you got the movie The Man from U.N.C.L.E. You get the guy that loves to torture people ends up getting tortured himself and dies. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You got Judge Doom, who's killed by his own poison that he makes, that he was planning on using on all the tunes. And then the movie Cabin in the Woods, you have Steve Hadley's character there. He wants the victims to pick the merman to get killed by, and at the end when all the monsters are there
That's
unleashed,
a good one.
He gets killed by the merman.
That is. Have you seen that movie?
I have.
No one ever gets killed by the merman.
It's such a meta movie. It's really fun, and then the way it opens too, with like it's just two guys on a golf cart, and they're like, "Oh, it
totally comes out of left field." You're like, "Oh, it's just gonna be an average fucking horror movie," and then the whole plot twist is it's just a whole gambling. It's awesome. I enjoyed that a lot.
It is a really fun meta movie if you haven't seen it. And then you get X-Men First Class, where Shaw is killed by Eric when Eric moves the coin through his head, and he's saying, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count to 3 and move the coin," which is exactly what Shaw had said to Eric when he was a young boy. So kind of ironic there. And then Game of Thrones, you got Viserys Targaryen. He wants a gold crown, and he certainly gets it in a most ironic way.
Ironic deaths. All right, so every week Tyler picks the episodes, and he does so by showing me an AI-generated picture. I play a little game where I have to guess what it is. I'm pretty sure we're due for season 4, but also next week is our 52, which means it's our year-end 50.
It's our 52.
It's our 52nd episode, which means it's our year-end review. We're going to have a little bit of fun at the end. We are going to re-edit or re-rate 3 every year. We get 3 re-rates to consider. So we're going to do that little ceremony for our first annual one, and we're going to do a little extra trivia at the end for each other over the last 52 episodes.
That. Good thing you reminded me.
I'll remind you again before.
Okay.
But is it going to be a season 4 as well? It might be a pretty long episode, but it'd be pretty fun. I'm guessing season 4, that's all I can really think of.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. Is it The Mind and the Matter?
Nope. You want to guess again?
I have no idea.
Prime Mover.
Okay. I don't really recall this one that much.
It's a fun one. It's
What season is it?
Season 2.
It is?
Yep.
Maybe I must have only seen this one like once.
Oh, this one kind of sticks out in my mind. I always thought it was like a kind of fun idea. So it's a guy with telekinesis, and his friend like finally learns that he has telekinesis, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Vegas and just cheat."
All I could think of from that picture, I just kept thinking Rain Man. See the guy holding his head with money in the casino.
It's definitely looks like the picture of Zach Galifianakis trying to do all the math in the Hangover movie there.
All right, next week, The Prime Mover, and it is our official 1 year. We're going to do a year-end review at the end of the episode as well. I definitely have my 3 episodes that I'm going to re-rate pick, and I believe you do as well.
Yep, I do.
All right, if you guys want to re-go through all the past 52 episodes with us and play along with the trivia game, see how much you remember. I'm not going to make them crazy. I feel like we shouldn't do anything that's like numbers, but I'm going to do like probably a lot of like, what was this guy's name type of thing.
Well, that's unfair. I remember the numbers a lot more than I remember names. Oh, I'm terrible with names.
If
someone tells me
the phone number from Night Call?
I would probably kind of remember the phone number from The Chaser.
All right, that should be pretty fun, though. Just a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys could please continue to like and subscribe on the Facebook page. It would mean a lot to us. We finally hit 80. That's fucking awesome. 20 more and we get 100. That's our big goal for 2025, which probably is doable. I don't want to
jinx it.
Sound too cocky, but I have a feeling we should probably see 100 subscribers by the end of the year.
Yeah, so
I would hope it's like 10 months.
Everyone send out to your friends. Let them know that the show exists and that we're out here.
For sure. If you guys could also go over to the Facebook page, give that a like and a follow. I really do need to. I was so busy with putting up last week's episode and the Tower of Terror episode that I did not get the picture of the board up. But maybe I'll wait until we actually do the year-end review too.
Yeah, that way we have the.
It seems like every
out.
week there's always a. Well, next week's 50. Then we got the year. But I think after the
52,
review,
it will be a while before a big number.
Yeah, probably 75 after that for a big one.
Yeah,
but all right. And if you have any other questions or whatever and you need to get a hold of us for any other reason, you can email us at twilightgnome59@gmail.com.
Someone please send an email to that just so I can make sure that the email actually works at this point.
I was thinking of sending an email the other day, kind of like from The Simpsons, being like, you guys have a great podcast, and tell that host Alex to stay away from all the ladies. He's stealing them all from us. Something funny.
That was from, I thought that was more Family Guy. I thought.
No, it was Smithers. They have a suggestion box, and Smithers goes and reads, until that Mr. Burns, he'd be distracting the female employees or something to that.
Ah, okay.
I swear to God, I've gone down like fucking 50 IQ points becoming a parent.
I mean, it's stressful. There's a lot to it.
All right, I'll leave you with this, Ty. Final question. This one should be kind of fun. You might take a minute to...
Fun? This was an episode about a Nazi getting tortured in hell.
Yeah. All right, Ty, what would your ironic hell be?
My ironic hell? Something that I did that was bad that I would get tortured with? My ironic hell.
So you can take a minute to think about this one.
I guess it also depends on how I die, which I obviously don't know how that's going to happen yet.
Say it's natural causes, and I would imagine you're a good person. You're not going to go to hell, but what would be your ironic hell? Like something like, damn, yeah, I kind of deserve this one.
That's a tough one. I don't. Do you have one on the top of your head?
I would imagine it would probably have to be something to the effect of like something gluttonous that I do that I would just have to fucking eat all this thing or smoke a bunch of fucking cigarettes, or now you have to drink all the alcohol in the world.
So basically the punishment that parents give their kids when they find out they're smoking, like, no, you have to smoke the whole carton.
Probably, especially since I don't do any of that anymore. It would probably be one of those things.
I guess mine would maybe be like, there's an exact clone of me and he just annoys me in the ways that I didn't realize I was annoying.
Stuck in a room with you for eternity?
Yep.
I was thinking for you maybe because I know you like hiking or kayak and it never ends.
Be like, when do we get to the top of the mountain? You're not going to.
That picture of you when you're hungover and we hiked. We're cliking. And just picture you're
so exhausted.
Freaking, you need to climb a mountain hungover for the rest of eternity.
Oh God, that'd be terrible. It'd be like drunk Sisyphus problem.
When we hiked Katahdin. Fucking drank.
Oh, God.
Stayed up till like 2 a.m. drinking, and then wake up at 5 to fucking hike.
And I did it in jeans, too.
That was not a fun hike.
No.
But what would your ironic hell be? I guess that's not a good question for you listeners since we don't know you, but go ahead and leave a comment or...
Maybe we'll learn more about you this way.
But until then, Tyler, do you have anything to say to our dear, dear listeners?
Yes, please join us for our special 1-year anniversary. Can't wait to see you there in the Twilight Gnome.
It's 4 o'clock, the howling man is gone. Frisbee's telling stories, Mr. Dingle's strong. There's time enough for the real Martian to stand up. Next stop, Willoughby, little girl is lost. There's something on the wing, Walter Jameson won't live long. Feel like I'm 5 characters in search of exit.
Yes, please join us for our special 1-year anniversary. Can't wait to see you there in the Twilight Gnome.
Yeah.
Wrong song. Fucking idiot. Now it's time for the Twilight Bone. That'll be the end credits. Fucking meat cuff.